Well, hello there. It's Hambbage. That's right, you found me. This is a special Saturday night session of To Hold on Eternity. That's right, I got an episode up early today and came back, decided after a nice day to get one more in. And spoiler alert in advance, I don't know what will happen. Our first goal is going to be to survive as usual, but we are going to largely, first of all, plug back in the headphones. And I hope that, oh no, we're going to have to restart the game. Sorry, guys. I thought the headset was plugged in, but it is very quiet. Hang on one second. You guys love these little starts, right? So, anyway, um, I think that we are gonna have a pretty chill Saturday evening play session. You know, with surprises may abound, but my intent is to kind of um, start up high and work down between our couple of spider spawners, and just see if by staying in close proximity to them that we can make some good progress, a lot of string, and see how those farms really work. With just kind of an extra fun episode. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So again, sorry for the little delay there. Let's get back to it. Now I have sound. It's awesome. So as I mentioned early this morning, I had a Colorado Buffaloes football game to go to, and they sometimes feel like a chore. And today was a little bit of that. Again, like last time I had a game, which was actually 2 weeks ago, home game. Weather was absolutely gorgeous, so it was a beautiful day. And even the worst outcome in a sporting event when you can be with friends and be out on a beautiful day is always good reason to hang out a little bit. So uh, no complaints except I wore sandals again because the opportunities are getting short. And boy, oh boy, did the I've got two little rectangles on the tops of my feet that are a little pinkish. Not bad, but they're feeling a little warm this evening. So I got home and just kind of chilled out after getting a bunch of sun, and I actually started watching a show that I didn't really know anything about other than it was October release in Netflix and kind of in the spooky vein of the season. It is directed and created by the same guys that did The House on Haunted Hill and The Haunting, I believe are the two. Um, I actually think I want to start over here. We may have a uh, better opportunity to kind of get up to the level we want to be at. So let's do this. And you can already hear the cave spiders over there getting going a little bit, which is a good thing. So now I think this spawner is actually a little higher up than the other. And that's one. Ooh, get some gravel working too. We do have our fortune. Some of that's just gonna break on. And what I don't particularly want to do is get into the mix with the spiders themselves. Eventually, I think we will convert this one over to glass, um, kind of in the same style that we had for the other. But not really planning on doing that tonight. Tonight, unless we uncover something, which is always possible. It is Minecraft after all, and the best plans often go awry. Um, yeah, so I think we'll leave well enough alone over here, but maybe this is our top point to start. Something like that. And then we can just go back across here. We want to kind of keep things lit up as we go, and I do want to keep a focus on this gravel and the flints as well, because Franny's a big fan of flint, almost as much a fan of flint as she is of the strings. Oh, I thought I was falling. All right, so I think this edge on this side is going to be our best kind of junction. We know we kind of come through to the center, but their edges overlap. And what I don't know is when we come through here. Okay, this is all the cave. So that's all right. Ooh, I wonder if our little fossil dinosaur is gonna. Let's get an extra light up above. Okay, good. So we can see it at least. And I think with this in play, we'll be able to work around and keep that same ceiling height going all the way around or down and back up again on the opposite side. But for now, like I said, kind of the goal is the middle, clearing as much of this as we can. And just like our initial trip out here, we're going to load up on some goodies as a result of this. It's just always a nice little add. And that's not my pick. So we'll just kind of be mining away here. Quarrying, I guess, more so than mining exactly. Setting up this area. And at the end of our session, we'll go see how much we've gotten out of the two, if they're both even going. If we can kind of keep them running. You know, they may not spawn, but the spiders should keep processing themselves, for lack of a better word, while they're in there. We got something there. So this is where we want to just probe back to an edge that we can actually go across. That's going to be back a little ways because we had all those tunnels. Maybe by here. No. But close, so maybe we can work around this. Oh, maybe not. go. Good, 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 good. All right, so let's get light there. This seems like a wall, so let's actually go all the way to here. And then we'll see what this can bring back. Again, it's kind of just a building out from my experience, new experience, building up one of these cave spider farms. Because from the start, I've said this is not something I've. If I did it, it was way back when I first played the game. Or first got the confidence to take on spiders. But I really haven't used them in any significant way in my playstyle in a long, 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 long time. So, I think longer term, if we have a beacon going, we can knock some of this out a lot more quickly in future areas around other spawners. I do see spiders down there, so they may be popping too. I should probably go look again at some point, see exactly what the proximity is. We knew it when we were doing the other double farm, but 16 jumps out at this point. But who knows where that's getting into my head from. A little more light up here. Okay, so this is a good starting ceiling, I think. Eventually, that'll be 3 up over the box over there. We are all the way to the far side of this farm, and then the last bit is we want to make sure that on this side we're going over. Excuse me, just as much. I just had some dinner. A little hiccupy. Let's see if we can get that over to this other edge of this wall. And once we get fully established in cutting, then maybe I'll talk a little bit about my latest streaming adventure and whether any of you guys are interested. Some of you may already know what I'm talking about when I say a new Netflix release from the makers of The House on Haunted Hill and The Haunting. And I'm not a huge scary movie guy. I typically some of the stuff that I guess would be closer to traditional horror movies come out of the sci-fi genre. I really like a good sci-fi, and I'm not a big slasher horror. I can enjoy them as much as the next person, but I like something a little more mentally engaging, if that's fair. And again, that's not to say that some of the classics and kind of the slasher stuff can't mentally engage you. I mean, you think about, particularly when you're a little younger, having lingering trouble getting to sleep the night after you watch something like that. It's just turning in your mind, and it's maybe a bit of a cop out. I find as an adult that I think harder and my brain engages a lot more particularly if I like wake up. Usually I'll go to sleep no problem. I'm not never been one to have much problem sleeping, but oftentimes I've said it here. I'll wake up kind of middle of the night ready to go, and you literally feel like you can't turn off your brain. It is just primed and going, right? And there are times when um, movies that are kind of designed to give you a scare, right? But it's the ones that make you think about something that really can get you going and get your mind spun up because they add that little bit of adrenaline too, and maybe I get a jump scare or something. But they get you thinking too. So anyway, now that we're just kind of rounding out our last corner here, um, I started watching. We got so much more to go in here. Let's see. This is the edge. We have 9 across the middle, 11 total, and that is on this block. So this is 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. There we go. All right. Now that's cut out. And then we think this is the same over here. Yeah, real sure. But let's just go maybe 15 and see what we when and if we get caught on something. Not yet. But we should coming back out this way. Speaking of jump scares, we'll probably generate some here in this dark hallway I've created. So anyway, the movie or the series, I guess, not movie, but the series that I started watching is called Midnight Mass, and you can pretty much guess at a beginning of October on Netflix, with a title just like Midnight Mass. That's probably gonna be in the scary movie category, but I didn't want to know much about it. Like even trailers and things can give you a bit of a spoiler in advance. So I came home today, kind of cooked from the sun, and I had a thing of iced tea going already. So I just kind of chilled on the couch and rehydrated. Had a little bit of dinner recently, and watched the first 3 of a 7-episode series. And I gotta say, it's slow to start for sure. But personally, I think it's really got some great potential. And I could see how it wouldn't necessarily be for everybody. And it's to be determined how that really goes. But I think without spoiling anything for anybody that's watching, it's basically about this very isolated island community, and they don't really nail down. It's eastern United States, I think. In the Atlantic, it would be the understanding somewhere kind of around the New York area, but there's no like, oh yeah, we took the ferry and ended up in Concord or something like that. I don't even know if Concord is in a coastal town or not, but none of that kind of stuff going on. Yeah, we'll run. This is fun, and it's at least to start. They give you enough to know that there's some supernaturally stuff going on, but with a title that you may figure out. But if you don't, if you have no connection whatsoever to the Catholic Church, Mass is the um, it, almost synonymous with a Catholic church service. And that is because in the Catholic Church, the sacrament of communion is a part of any mass. Unless I'm wrong, and I'm not a Catholic, so I can't speak to that with any certainty. But I've had friends who are Catholic. I've gotten some exposure to the church, and um, at least that's my my understanding or description of it is they do they do tie in the communion, the sacrament of communion in a mass, in addition to having a message and hymns and all the rest of the church type stuff that folks who are not Catholics may be familiar with from their own types of services. So there's going to be a religious undertone to it, and I oftentimes think that's a good thing when it comes to movies that are going to play at your emotions. Franny, no, we should try to keep you going because you will probably reset your desire for some of these things by the next time we come back. So anyway, yeah, it in watching the first couple, aside from the things at the very beginning that tell you that there's a little more going on, the first few episodes in a little less humorous tone remind me a lot of now I'm gonna blank the title of the show. I'm so good at this. What's the Alaskan thing from the late '90s, early 2000s? Alaska Extreme, right? Was that it? The doctor that goes up to the small town in Alaska. He's all cut off, small town. All the people. It's a drama. There's some comical moments. Well, this is kind of that, and you start learning all of these people's backstories, and the reason I think this has got some just phenomenal potential is that the uh, Flanagan brothers, I think. I think there's two of them. Michael, I think, is the main kind of guy, the director and all that. Maybe. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, or be gentle in your criticisms of me. I'm pretty bad at movie actors, producers, writers, all that kind of stuff. I'm not great in that sense, like trivia or those kind of things. So, anyway, this particular show has already got me just because of some of the adult things that are going on in it. There's people that are dealing with grief, with guilt about things, with distress. There's one character whose mother is aging and suffering mental and physical declines and dementia type stuff and all that going on. So it's the part where like a slasher horror movie loses me. Is the typical like, oh, in a slasher you kind of have to cheer for all the people to run upstairs instead of going out of the house. It's like that car commercial or whatever. It was a Geico or something. What could be stupider than spending 5 minutes to save money on your car insurance, right? And then it's the people in the axe murderer movie that are running into the abandoned graveyard, right? Instead of getting into the running car. One person's like, "Why don't we just get into the running car?" What are you, crazy? We can't do that. And it's that suspension of disbelief. Yeah, you see some gore and all that kind of stuff. This doesn't start off with a whole lot of that, and that may change. I don't know, but I'm digging it. I can't wait to see where it goes. I may go back for more, but I kind of had to tap the brakes at 3 episodes. Like I said, I think there's seven, and they're hour long. It's not a 20 minute or type deal. Okay, this gets a bit more interesting as we go here. I guess we can just jump down onto it and then clear the rest of this. We got feather falling, right? Should definitely keep this farm going. Okay. So yeah, I thought it was really cool. I definitely recommend it. Again, I know this audience is varied. I got some people I know close to my own age, or at least um, that kind of point in your life, um, and you would probably appreciate it. I think according to your taste, right? Again, it's not going to be the same for all audiences, but I'll say this: one of my favorite all-time movies. Not because it's like, oh, it's just, one of my favorites, but one of the best that total gotcha movies where I didn't see the twist coming was The Sixth Sense, with again M. Night Shyamalan. Hands down in my mind, finest work right there. And there's been some good ones and some kind of clunkers, but I unfortunately that was the first that I was exposed to, and everything else has had to compete. And a lot of the stuff that I've seen more recently, I've hoped would have that same effect, but I kind of, it's like when something has been spoiled for you. You go in knowing what's going to happen, and uh, in there's no sequel to The Sixth Sense, but in other M. Night Shyamalan movies, I'm always on the lookout. Like, oh, you got me once. So I'm looking for the catch. And the best example of that was right on the heels of it. It was called The Village, another great movie. Um, but that one, I'm sad to say for myself, I saw it coming the whole time. I was keyed into that was how it was going to play out. Now, I guess we'll go out again to get around that side. Ooh, can we do? Oh, I should have left it. I had it. Guess it doesn't matter though. We can just take all this. All right, and then we can go up right here. I think these were the two, so we want to go in three. Oop. And then we'll just go all the way across here. So yeah, well, definitely say if so far, if you're in the market for some suspenseful and I don't know, the whole psychological thriller thing gets thrown around a lot, and I wouldn't exactly call Midnight Mass that yet. I don't know what the description is because, like I said, I didn't really even look. The title had caught my eye, and I had kind of gone, yeah, I may check that out at some point. And this felt like the day to do it. But I haven't gone online. I haven't really watched any trailers other than what was just loading as I first selected it. So I kind of knew people were on boats. I honestly, as I was loading it up, I didn't know if it was going to be foreign language or something because it was just kind of a bunch of people out at sea, and that often is a kind of European thing. It reminded me of the Icelandic series that came out a few months ago that I'd watched. I talked about it a little bit. Can't names escaping me right now. Um, but that was pretty similar to this. I think I could equate that and live with that as a cross reference. I'm sure it would help you guys more if I could come up with the name of that before we get done here. Um, but that had the same elements of small, isolated community, um, the human interaction and the stories of the people being a deal. And I think that's something, we, as movie fans, we've got to give a lot of credit to the rise in popularity of the zombie movies in the recent years. Um, these days, if your zombie movie doesn't really turn to highlighting the monsters that the people can become in light of a zombie attack incident, whatever, you're missing the boat. And I don't think they're going to be of a different style then, because I think most, I almost laugh to say it, but like most serious um, zombie movie makers are aware that that's a part they don't want to overlook. Um, so let's take this down to, this gives us a real nice room for this one. Little catwalk up there. And gotta stop somewhere, right? So let's call that good. All right, now let's cut back. Oh, this might get our steps though. Maybe we won't do that. Come back up here. Hope these spiders are still doing well. All right, we got about halfway to go. And yeah, I want to check that. Be right with you. Katla. Katla was the Icelandic one that I watched on Netflix. So there you go. I think that's the closest I can come to an approximation. From what I can gather, they're going to go in very different directions. Um, but in terms of a tone for whatever's going on around that makes it a horror, Katla, I think, is a very good comparison. If you got into that, I think at least through the first three episodes, you'd find plenty to enjoy in Midnight Mass. And I've got some guesses there. You're starting to get a little of the revelation. A lot of it is I don't see a lot of this as like being deeply veiled. They kind of let you know what's coming as it's all building and setting up. There's not. Oh, listen to him cook down there. It's so good. Maybe we'll go 3 in and try to avoid the hole. There's some of it. So yeah, I'm very curious to see where this particular series takes us. I think it's gonna be one that will leave you chewing a little bit. And I have a pretty strong background in particularly Christianity. That's the faith I was raised in, and certainly know the most about. But I've never been sheltered from or taught to avoid other uh, intellectual pursuits or other peoples of faiths, writings or thoughts or philosophies, that kind of stuff, and how those play in, how they shape Christianity as a whole. And I kind of love the way that they're playing it back and forth. I could see how it could be very offensive for a lot of different people. Um, Whenever you say something like that, particularly in horror, right? It's always um, the church that kind of gets this unfair rap, right? It's like, oh, you hear, or I think back to my childhood. It kind of goes along with music censorship too, a little bit. We are up higher than all that, so let's do this. Um, but yeah, this idea that, oh, if you dare watch something like that, you're gonna end up going straight to hell because it will somehow plant this seed of evil in your head and you won't be able to get away from it. And I can see where that grew out of, right? Back medieval times and even much more recently, the idea of censoring um, views or thoughts that would diminish the power of a group. And for a long time in Europe, and as a result, kind of in American intellectual thought, the church held education. That if you were educated to read and write, very often that was because you were being taught to do so by the church and for the church. And they kept a very tight rein on what books couldn't be copied or written, what were heretical, and what were um, I don't know if sanctified is the right word, because something doesn't have to be a religious text necessarily to um, be deemed good or bad. I'm hearing zombie. I'm sure we've opened up some potential for them to spawn. Just have to kind of keep our eyes open. Suspected as much around here, but I didn't want to leave these cut off. Take down to there. Probably have to go drop a load off over at the Franny base. Now we can come back over here. Jump scare. I knew you were around there somewhere, pal. Didn't know where it was. And we are pretty much filled up, so let's... Do we have a good way down through any of this? Not really, but there's always a good way down. You just jump off. I don't think we got anything good for Franny. She's going to be so disappointed. Um, Coming up, but not quite on an hour. We'll check our time when we get back over, and then maybe what we'll do is come back, gather up. Oh, gather up what we already have broken, and then pay a visit to our two farms and see what we've come up with. So yeah, what are other deeper kinds of movies like that? Ones that aren't just an easy throwaway scare, but some that you kind of have to think on a little bit. And one of the things that when I saw this Midnight Mask Mass, it immediately took me back to the old classic Exorcist, which is nowadays I think most people can kind of laugh at the effects and all that, but I remember that um, being particularly scary to a lot of adults and folks with religious backgrounds that were like, this is a little too intense. And of course, if you're watching something and it gets to that point, and you'll know it when it comes, you don't have to be a hero and oh, I've got to watch this because my friends or somebody, if it's bothering you, turn it off or walk out. If it's a theater or you're with a group or something like that, go. That's your chance to go refill a soda or something like that. Just go reset and decide, do I want to go back into that or not? And as you have more and more life experiences, that will be a real deal. And movies that may not particularly affect you in one viewing may have a whole new depth if your life experiences change. Prime example of that, really kind of brought it home to me, but I guess the first example I will say, because I think a lot of people can relate to it. I don't know if kids still watch it as much these days, but Where the Red Fern Grows is, I think, one of the first and best tear jerkers for kids kinds of movies. Um, I guess no spoiler alert if you want to go see it, but if you've ever had a pet, um, you're gonna feel that one. Tough, tough, tough. And I think whether the movie itself is that great or has stood up to the test of time as well as others, very debatable. But uh, the feeling that it evokes, um, everyone can relate to. I think, and that's what makes it timeless. Probably ensures that people still do watch it to this day. Um, Kids and all that kind of stuff. So that's an example I think we can all relate to. But the one that kind of taught me early on that, look, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about a movie. Um, this would have been back in the, I want to say, early to mid 90s, probably earlier 90s. I was working one of my first jobs in a movie theater, and the movie Saving Private Ryan came out. I'm pretty sure it was Saving Private Ryan at that point. And if you haven't seen that one, a very graphic war movie, um, and very real. And for this very reason, again, always use your discretion. Anybody's recommendation you're getting on the internet, hey, apply some of your own logic to that. But Saving Private Ryan got all kinds of awards when it came out, as it was one of the most vivid and um, realistic depictions of D-Day that had ever been put on screen. It was absolutely, and it was right on a wave of several of these, because at about the same time Band of Brothers came out, and both in their own way brought a new level to a genre that had kind of dried up. You know, post Vietnam, there wasn't a lot of um, movie making that was supporting the efforts of the military, particularly World War II. You know, that had all just kind of, there was the 50s and 60s, early 60s that came right on the heels of World War II. But then that all that kind of dried up right up until about the mid 90s, and then you got some of these movies coming back with new special effects. You know, for one thing, color, right? The Longest Day and The Great Escape and um, was the one about bombing the dam, Bridge on the River Kwai. You know, all these various movies that are rightfully classics. They were all black and white and a different generation of actors. So to see those movies was a whole new level. And I remember working in the movie theater, and the first time I saw it happen, I was kind of like, what's going on? This old man, you know, when you work in a movie theater, you find out like, oh yeah, you know, there's about an hour when all the movies are turning over. You know, it's like the 7 o'clock shows, right? Your movie may start at 7, or it may start at 7:55, but they'll pretty much group everything to go, and that's when the concessions and all that is ramped up. There's lines, and everybody wants to get popcorn and sodas and tickets and get in and all that good stuff, right? And then you have another hour in between, maybe not a full hour, depending on what the run times are on the various movies at that point. Um, but you have this kind of downtime in between where the movie theater actually gets pretty quiet. And, you know, you're, like I said, if you're working, you're restocking the concessions, you're maybe sweeping up the lobby a little bit, cleaning it all up for the next people to come through, whatever your jobs are. Well, it's, you know, you see people go out and go to the bathroom and all that kind of stuff, but there's not tons of people. Well, um, standing there, see this old man um, come walking out. Oh, there we go, 49 string from this side, and he's absolutely in tears, like grown, you know, I don't 70, 80-year old man at that point. Comes walking out, and he is straight up bawling. And you're kind of like, you know, I don't know, 14, 15-year-old kid or something like that. Like, sir? You know, just puts his hand up and walks away. And then, you know, younger son or daughter or whatever, I don't remember exactly, came running out like, oh, are you okay? And, you know, I just, I heard him say, I can't go in there and watch that. That's way too much. And, you know, it just totally brought him back to something that had happened at that point 50 years earlier. And it put him in the moment. He couldn't handle it. Lots of other people were enjoying it. But by the time that movie had its run, I love those carts. There's no power rail to give it the clackety clack or any of that. Just a whirlwind sound. So these farms are working pretty well. You know, they're not amazing, but this would be an awesome place to AFK. And you know, you could basically, and that's what we'll kind of show eventually. I think is, I believe, you know, if we stand somewhere about here, we're we're fully rocking in both farms, and they'll just both keep running. Um, and eventually we'll have a series of these that we can just kind of move around in between and all that. We aren't completely full and we aren't completely out of time, so let's do some of this wood. And then we'll clean up those chests over that way that just have some random odds and ends in them too. So yeah, a little just picking away. I didn't have major goals other than not to die and hang out with you guys for a little bit. See where my night's gonna take me. Am I gonna um, feel like after this loads that I want to do another? Maybe, I don't know. Or go back and watch some more of that Midnight Mass movie. definitely, definitely pretty well in on it. Let's get this, go a little above and beyond here. And we do have, not right here, but another. I didn't goof this up. Oh, come on. First of all, can I reach it? Can. Then, can I get to it to clean it up? I thought that torch was one more over. Well, alright, so just bits and pieces here and there. There's a spot. We'll clean all this up. That slime coming for me. Well, it sounds like it a little. Maybe lost interest. Won't do those just yet. That's random spider web. Leave the mushrooms for now. Kind of nice. Okay, let's go up here with the slime. Get that and those. I don't know how long we'll have the crafting table over here for. And I know we won't. Well, we may use a little bit just to clean up this, the backside of this farm. But what I wanted to do was get these set up over here where we would actually use them, right? Guess we'll put the logs in there too. All right, did we get anything else? 3 more. It's not that fast. How about this one? I'm gonna go 18. $13. Oof. Okay. Alrighty. Well, as promised, we'll try to do a bit of cleanup with the rest of this. We still got baby slimes over there. We are at 52. Oh yeah, getting that out of the way. Really open this back up here. I was thinking like, oh, if I go up here, I'm going to clear the stairs, but I don't think that's a big deal. We'll just have this little pedestal in the middle, right? To do on some future episode. Here we go. Oh, are you kidding me? It's just it wants to be done. We got time. We got like 8 more minutes when we checked, right? And this is basically just a big hollow area. Oh, good stuff. So yeah, that kind of ended the need for all this stuff. How far out did it go? We got an edge at some of these various places. We may go around and clean those up later, but for now, can we... Alright, now this is... And we'll leave that. It's actually pretty well torched. Only at 23 currently. Of course, now I've overfilled again. Just leave the regular stone. I love that. And speaking of spooky Halloween type sounds, that's a good one. Ooh. Alright, we'll try to take down this block. Don't know that we'll get the floors quite balanced out. Maybe. It's like some of those old dirt digs. About that same pace when you're first leveling for a base or something, or clearing the farm fields. Just go two at a time here. Oh yeah, that's getting pretty nice. Can do this. Should stop looking around and keep focused. Oh, of course, that's where we open up into something new. Not that new. I'm sure we've been through there, but not very lit. Alright, well, we've done enough to make it very clear what the intent is going to be here. Someday, we'll have it where we can kind of get ourselves in a big old... I can do it from here. Yeah, that's pretty good, right? Oh. Didn't really turn to get my totem in view. I right click for my picture. All right, there we go. Sorry, I just twanged the microphone. Bit more room. One last dive down here. 20 that time. And if that was 26, let's just say 6. Oh, look at this. We don't even have to worry about jumping off anything. 15. Holy smokes. Alright, a couple more torches out here. And we're off. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little bonus episode. I know not the wildest and craziest, but we don't claim to be that here. We don't do a lot of screaming and yelling too much. We just like to play hardcore vanilla Minecraft. And sometimes that means just a nice chill evening of making the wrong turn and not getting back home. So that one's on the to-do list. So is this one coming up here? And yeah, if string becomes a deal, we'll have it. But until then, we'll just kind of keep feeding this into Franny here. I don't know how Franny can do the little tap, 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 tap while we're trading stuff. It's really weird. Get rid of the sticks, too. In fact, let's do the sticks. Yeah, it's weird that you're not moving when you make the little tap, tap, tap hammer thing. Alright, there we go. Sticks and emeralds. So it's not like melon farming, but it's a cool little benefit. And very likely in the next couple episodes, we're gonna have to do some return to base emptying. I don't know that we'll have I wonder if we're now over. But hey, it's a Saturday night stream. You guys don't have anywhere to be. School tomorrow. Oh, that was cobble. I thought I had ore in there. Boom. There we go. Getting closer to a full load of our portal endpoint building blocks. All right. Well, there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, I enjoyed bringing this one to you. It was fun to just have a nice evening of breaking some blocks and watching our spiders work. The more and more that opens up, the better and better I think it will be. We can then, kind of use that as a secondary area base and kind of adventure out from there in the remaining stretches of the mines that we still have yet to discover. The ravine and the cave underneath us that we've discovered in the process of setting all this stuff up. There's lots to do. So I hope you join me back for the next one. Should be a couple at least coming up tomorrow. So stay tuned if you want to see when those videos do drop. Either check me out on Twitter or hit subscribe in YouTube, and you'll see these videos as soon as they pop. Other than that, have a wonderful night or day or week or however long you need until the next video catches your eye, and take care of yourselves and one another. Bye all. Thanks for watching.